Here is a rundown on the truth about anxiety and ADHD. Life-changing tools from renowned psychiatrist, featuring Dr. Tracey Marks by Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins is excited to have Dr. Tracey Marks on her podcast, discussing the surprising connection between anxiety and ADHD.
Dr. Marks is a renowned psychiatrist with over 25 years of experience, specializing in anxiety, ADHD, and mood disorders. She shares her own experience with performance anxiety, feeling anxious about wanting to do well, and how it affects her physically, such as a dry mouth and tense muscles. Dr. Marks notes that anxiety has increased globally, especially since the pandemic, due to factors like social media, constant comparisons, and access to bad news. She emphasizes that while some anxiety is normal and even advantageous, excessive anxiety can impair functioning. Dr. Marks explains that anxiety can manifest physically, such as muscle tension, and that people often don't realize they're tensing up. She suggests trying progressive muscle relaxation to release muscle tension and create a relaxation state.
Mel Robbins shares a personal experience of feeling exhausted and tense after a day of sitting at her desk, and Dr. Marks explains that this is a common symptom of anxiety.
Dr. Marks also shares a technique called progressive muscle relaxation, which involves contracting and relaxing muscle groups to release tension.
Mel Robbins is excited to try this technique and encourages her listeners to do the same. The conversation takes a personal turn when Mel Robbins shares a video of her son Oakley, who struggles with anxiety.
Oakley asks Dr. Marks about his experience of getting anxious before he's even anxious, describing a spinning sensation in his head that feels like nausea. Dr. Marks explains that this is a common experience for people with anxiety, who can be sensitive to body sensations that trigger anxiety. She notes that Oakley's experience might be a dissociative experience where he loses touch with his environment or himself, which can accompany anxiety. Dr. Marks emphasizes that the brain is changeable and that people have control over their mental health. She encourages listeners to take away the idea that they can improve the quality of their life with simple behaviors and habits.
Mel Robbins is grateful for Dr. Marks' expertise and encourages her listeners to check out her book and YouTube channel for more resources on anxiety and mental health. She described the physical sensation of bracing herself, which is a mentally healthy response. However, the challenge for her was letting go of the worst-case scenario in her head.
Dr. Tracey Marks, a renowned psychiatrist, explained that anxiety is a natural response to a perceived threat, but it's the propagation of that response that becomes problematic. She explained that people often fear the physical sensations associated with anxiety, such as a racing heart or a pit in the stomach. To overcome this, Dr. Marks suggested intentionally exposing oneself to these physical sensations in a safe environment. For example, if someone's heart racing triggers anxiety, they could do a few jumping jacks to increase their heart rate in a controlled setting.
Mel Robbins asked Dr. Marks to describe what happens in the body when anxiety sets in.
Dr. Marks explained that the amygdala, a structure in the brain, detects threats and prepares the body to either fight or flee. This triggers the sympathetic nervous system, which increases heart rate and blood pressure. However, the parasympathetic system can calm things down by slowing down the heart rate and promoting relaxation. Dr. Marks emphasized that anxiety is not something that can be eliminated, but rather managed. She suggested that instead of trying to prevent anxiety, people should focus on controlling their reaction to it. This involves recognizing the physical sensations associated with anxiety and using tools to calm down. A listener, Alyssa, shared her struggle with emetophobia, the fear of vomiting. Dr. Marks explained that avoidance behaviors can exacerbate phobias, and that facing one's fears in a controlled environment can help alleviate symptoms. She also discussed the difference between being shy or introverted and having social anxiety, explaining that social anxiety is an anxiety disorder characterized by a fear of being judged and evaluated by others. Dr. Marks described what it feels like to struggle with social anxiety, explaining that people with social anxiety often assume they are the center of attention and fear being judged by others. She emphasized that this is not a realistic perception and that most people are not paying attention to the individual with social anxiety. By recognizing the physical sensations associated with anxiety and using techniques like interoceptive exposure, people can learn to control their reactions and live more fulfilling lives. Your mind starts racing, and you begin to assume the worst, that people don't like you or that you're not good enough. But what if you could learn to manage that anxiety and not let it control you? According to Dr. Tracey Marks, a renowned psychiatrist, it's all about developing the right tools to calm your mind and body. She explains that when we're anxious, our brains are wired to assume the worst, and we start to make negative assumptions about what others are thinking. But by recognizing these assumptions and working on our negative self-talk, we can start to change our mindset. This involves stimulating the vagus nerve, which is responsible for calming us down through techniques like cold exposure, humming, or specific breathing patterns. For example, the box breathing technique involves inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, and holding again for 4 seconds. This can help calm the nervous system and reduce anxiety. Another key tool is grounding exercises, which help bring us back to the present moment. This can be as simple as counting or looking around the room and naming objects of a certain color. By focusing on the present, we can reduce our anxiety and feel more in control. Dr. Marks also emphasizes the importance of lifestyle choices in managing anxiety. She notes that sleep, diet, and exercise are all crucial in reducing anxiety. For example, a diet high in sugar and processed foods can create inflammation in the body, which can exacerbate anxiety. On the other hand, exercise can increase brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein that helps repair and regenerate nerves. But what about the connection between ADHD and anxiety? Dr. Marks explains that ADHD can cause secondary anxiety, as the disorganization of thought and lack of control can create feelings of uncertainty and fear. She notes that people with ADHD often have trouble directing their attention and staying on top of details, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy and anxiety. In fact, Dr. Marks believes that there's a huge surge of people getting diagnosed with ADHD later in life, particularly women. She attributes this to a greater appreciation and education about ADHD, as well as a reduction in stigma around mental health. However, she notes that there's still a lot of bias against ADHD, with some people viewing it as just a quirk or a result of being distracted. So what does a day look like for someone with ADHD? Dr. Marks explains that it's a spectrum, and everyone's experience is different. But for someone with undiagnosed ADHD, a day might involve feeling constantly distracted, disorganized, and struggling to focus. They might have trouble completing tasks, remembering appointments, or following through on commitment. They might feel like they're constantly playing catch-up and that their brain is always racing. Dr. Marks shares her own experience with ADHD, admitting that she still has trouble accepting her diagnosis. Despite being a psychiatrist, she often feels like she's not like her patients with ADHD and that she's somehow grown out of it. But she recognizes her weaknesses, such as being a slow reader, and has learned to adapt and find ways to manage her ADHD. Ultimately, Dr. Marks emphasizes that managing anxiety and ADHD requires a combination of tools, lifestyle changes, and self-awareness. By recognizing our patterns and weaknesses, we can develop strategies to overcome them and live more fulfilling lives.
Mel shared her own experience with set shifting, where she has trouble switching between tasks.
Dr. Marks explained that this is a common issue for people with ADHD, and it's not just about focusing, but also about stimulation. The ADHD brain needs stimulation to stay engaged, and if it's not interesting, they can get bored and lose focus.
Mel Robbins asked Dr. Marks to explain the concept of body picking, also known as body-focused repetitive behaviors.
Dr. Marks explained that it's a disorder that involves skin picking and hair pulling, and it can become problematic for people.
Mel Robbins shared her own experience with nail biting and skin picking, and Dr. Marks explained that it's a way for people with ADHD to get stimulation.
Dr. Marks also talked about the relationship between ADHD and tics. She explained that tics are involuntary behaviors that can be motor or vocal, and they can be made worse by anxiety.
Mel Robbins asked how to know the difference between a self-soothing behavior and a tic, and Dr. Marks explained that tics are usually involuntary and can't be controlled. Mel Robbins also asked Dr. Marks about procrastination and perfectionism.
Dr. Marks explained that people with ADHD and anxiety often struggle with motivation and performance anxiety, which can lead to procrastination. Dr. Marks also talked about the importance of lifestyle factors such as diet, sleep, and exercise in managing ADHD and anxiety. She explained that these factors can have a positive impact on reducing symptoms, but they are not a replacement for other tools and strategies.
Mel Robbins was grateful for the conversation with Dr. Marks and felt validated by her explanations.
She realized that she had been struggling with procrastination and perfectionism throughout her college and law school careers, and she appreciated Dr. Marks' advice on how to change those behaviors. Dr. Marks also shared her thoughts on how people with ADHD and anxiety can struggle with relationships. She explained that non-ADHD people can feel like the person with ADHD doesn't care, but it's not that they don't care, it's just not on their radar. She emphasized the importance of understanding and communication in relationship. They discussed various topics related to ADHD and anxiety, including set shifting, body picking, tics, procrastination, and perfectionism.
Dr. Marks provided valuable advice and strategies for managing these conditions, and Mel Robbins felt grateful for the conversation. She stresses that sleep is the most crucial aspect, followed closely by diet. This might involve setting a bedtime, reducing unhealthy snacks, or taking a weekly walk. By breaking down larger goals into smaller, manageable tasks, individuals can experience small wins that ultimately lead to significant improvements in their quality of life.
Dr. Marks also encourages listeners to be patient with themselves and in their unique brain chemistry. She reminds them that having struggles doesn't mean they're defective, but rather different, and that understanding these differences is key to taking control. By acknowledging and accepting their individuality, people can learn to manage their conditions and improve their overall well-being.
Mel Robbins expresses her gratitude to Dr. Marks for sharing her expertise and for being a living example of the tools and strategies she discussed.
She notes that Dr. Marks's presence on this show is a testament to the fact that these tools are achievable and can have a profound impact on people's lives.
Mel Robbins also thanks her listeners for tuning in and encourages them to share the valuable information they've learned with others, highlighting the potential for a ripple effect of positive change. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, and just remember, subscription is only £1 or $1 per month. Leave a comment or review. Until next time, happy listening.